What's going on, everybody? Patrick Kalmerton over at Patrick Productions. We just got done doing all of the ice shows. It's the middle of December. We're getting rolling. We're getting ready for the ice season. Matter of fact, if you turn around and I go through some of the things in my living room right now, you can tell that I'm really getting rolling and going and all that other stuff. But here's what I can tell you is Devil's Lake, North Dakota is a live and well. And coming through the ice shows, it was amazing on how many people were talking about never wanting or never been there. Always wanted to go there. They've been talking about how, over the years, they've always had groups and buddies that always wanted to go out there, family that always wanted to go out there, and it was intimidating to them. So I wanted to jump on here this week's report and just go through some of the A's and Z's that we saw at the sports shows, either at the St. Paul Ice Show or at the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Show, and kind of go through some of the questions that were asked and answer anything that was going on. So number one thing was, man, Devil's Lake, how much ice was there? That's all we heard through the St. Paul Ice Show, the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. Ice is good. Ice is really good. Right now, there's fishing reports out all over the place. If you go over to Bryce, if you go over to Woodland, if you go over to Perch Patrol, any of these, and we'll put a couple up, just as validation. But ice reports is good to go anywhere between 11 and 13 as of a couple of days ago. So they continue to build. All of the bays are locked up. There's been some snow bears that are starting to venture out and all that. Obviously, you need to use caution. You need to watch what you're doing. You need to spud and check. Go with a friend. The main lake is going to have less ice in that, and the reason being is because it's a big, deep body of water. It's starting to build. If you do start venturing out there, watch out for the drifts. You're going to see some of that in the fishing reports amongst everybody out there. The walleye fishing is good. Walleye fishing is going really good. I know that a lot of people are talking about the perch, the perch fishing, and they are finding really good numbers of perch. They're starting to see a lot of action as far as the pike, the walleyes. The people are starting to see some more crappies if you really start searching for. But as you can see, again, going through my entire living room and all that stuff, I do have a map out. Nowadays, you don't even need that. You can go on to Onyx Fish or, some of the other applications or things like that to find out depth decor. But sometimes it's nice just to put a map down and look at it. But here's what I can tell you. If you've never been to Devil's Lake, North Dakota, you gotta go. If you're intimidated, I don't blame you. It's one of them things where you have 100,000 acres of surface acres. You have over 2 million acres of water density, right? So it is a very big body of water. How do you break it down? How do you do this? How do you do that? Well, anybody that's coming from out of town, you can obviously come here and look at fisher reports. You can go to the website and look at all the blogs and the websites. But what we strongly urge you to do is do your due diligence, pick up some brochures, go through different things, right? When you get to town, go into the chamber office, grab a book. On there, page 12 has all the different guide services, but most likely you're already going to have your guide book. You're going to have your guide, you're going to have your accommodations book. There's a couple of different options. You can either look at the different lodging accommodations in town. There's a lot of hotels there that will have a lot of different options, right? There's some of the guide services that does not have the option of lodging. You can book through them. You can book through the ones that do have the option of the guide services. In those hotels in town, there's a heated fish cleaning station. You can get on there after your long days on the water. There's a lot of capabilities of plugging in all your equipment, charging all your stuff out in the parking lot. They have heated fish cleaning stations. You can clean your fish. You can store your fish right there with your license numbers on until you're ready to roll, and then you're ready to go. If you're looking for lodging outside of a hotel, you have a bigger group or whatnot, there's a lot of different options between the cabins, You have cabins that have kitchens in them. You have condo units that have full amenities as far as capabilities of cooking. There's some resorts that have, the restaurants and the bars right there. So if you want to soak an olive and warm the soul when you get done, you can certainly do that. If um, if you're coming to town and you've never been to town, I strongly urge you to look into a guide service, right? There's a lot of really, really good guide services here in Devil's Lake, and you can book one of them. You go out there, see what they're doing. Because if you're from anywhere else in the country, if you're used to going up to some of the other fisheries and using all the spoons or whatnot, that might be what we're doing out here. But you can also it can be to the point where if the weather changes, it gets real cold, you can, those fish become a little bit more lethargic and get down in the teardrops under pencil weights or whatnot, downsize to like a one piece of red spike or something like that to mimic or to look like the wild or the freshwater shrimp fry or whatnot. So when it gets really cold, downsize your presentation. As the winter goes on, right now we're not in that part. We're looking anywhere from 6 to 12 feet of water, looking for walleyes. We're looking for perch. Any transitions going from mud to the pebble to the rock, anything like that coming down through. I'm not speaking as a guide. I'm not speaking as anybody that knows exactly how to do it. I'm just looking at, if you're ever coming out to Devil's Lake from a different area like I'm at, you're gonna want to do these stuff. But if you're not very familiar with that body of water, call one of the guides. Get in there, talk to them, have them take you. Use their years of expertise, use their knowledge to help you succeed, right? So a lot of the times when I listen to people from out of state, they talk about going to Devil's Lake and they might struggle a little bit or whatnot. Well, here's the majority of the issue is if you don't know that body of water, a lot of times what you're going to do is you're going to look for the crowds and you're going to go towards those crowds and fish where the crowds are. But the problem is a lot of the times, when you're nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd and nothing depletes a bite like a crowd. Once you start adding in all of that commotion and all the drills coming through the ice and everything else, man, you're going to want to, those fish are going to get out of there. It's the same thing as if you're sitting in your living room and a bunch of drills start coming through your ceiling, or if you're sitting there going, you walk into a bedding area of a big buck, right? They're going to blow out of there and they're going to be gone. So what I strongly recommend doing is getting a guide, see where they're fishing, how they're fishing, what they're doing, and then going from there. If you are going on your own, give yourself some time. Give yourself a couple of extra days, in the beginning to do some searching, to drive around, to use your optics, grab those vortex and make sure that those people that are out fishing on their own, you can see when people are catching fish and just kind of hone in on that. I can tell you, body of water, it's huge. Going back to it again, the deepest parts in the main lake and stuff like that is going to be that 60 foot. We're not going to start getting that crazy until midwinter, January, February, stuff like that, where we start getting down there. But things that you're going to want to do, hey, I got a couple of different options. Hey, I'm going to kind of show you, coming all the way down through is here's some of the teardrops and stuff like that. You can get in there. Those are going flutter spoons, obviously. Once we start getting into some walleye action, you can do some mimic minnows, psycho shads, rip and wraps for walleyes and stuff like that. There's a lot of different things that you can throw at these fish. Majority of the time, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the spoons, right? So right here's one of the boxes of spoons coming all the way through: perch, tiger, fire tiger, perch, red glow, the same things that you're always looking for. I've done really, really well on some of the mad scientist stuff as far as the slab spoons and the jigging spoons. Those are going really good. But going to some of your bait shops, when you get to town, use your resources. Go into like the different bait shops across town, Ed's and the the Ace Hardware there in town, or Pete's, or I mean, really, honestly, any of the bait shops there in town is going to. Woodland Resort is a great resource where you can go in, talk to the different guides, talk to the different people, go to the restaurant, talk to the different people that are fishing from out of town, go into Ed's Bait because they have the bar and restaurant right there. But the other thing that's nice about it is some of these different places, once you get your resources as far as what they're doing, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, and everything else, go out, catch your fish on their knowledge, bring those fish back to some of these locations, and they'll actually cook your catch. If you're staying over at Woodland, I know that they'll cook some of your catch right there. I know that Ed's Bait Shop will do the same thing. Visit the local establishments in town, talk to the different people. It's an incredible time of year. We're all excited. We're coming into the holiday season, as far as Christmas and New Year's and everything else. And I'm getting giddy. I'm getting my equipment ready. I'm going to be heading out there. I think that, while you're with your friends and your family over the holidays, make sure that you plan a trip out here because the fishing is fantastic. Where else in the country can you go and you have that possibility of a 2.5 pound perch, or that 30-inch walleye, or that 40-inch pike? They're getting some really good crappies out there now, or a 4.5 pound white bass. Man, white bass! There's a lot of white bass in town, and they're fantastic table fare. They're really, really good out of the cold water. If you like running tip ups, the pike fishing out there is really good. The walleye fishing, Devil's Lake, it's been breaking records all over the place as far as walleye numbers and the size of the fish and everything else. It's just, I'm excited, and they're making good ice. Be careful. Ice is ice. There's never any safe ice without doing your due diligence and stuff like that. Anywho, we'll see you out in Devil's Lake. We just wanted to catch you all up on what was going on. We'll throw some pictures of some of those the spoons that have been working, and kind of give you a little bit of detail there. But again, stop into the chamber office, grab one of those books. Call a guide. Call a guide. Let them put you on fish. Good luck fishing, and we'll talk to you soon.